everybody, and welcome back to Mythgard and Middle-earth, this time with audio. So, thank you for your patience while I turned it off and back on again, which seems to have more or less worked. I have no idea what on earth was going on there. I really don't. But here we are. Okay, and so good to be back. Glad here we have Gryfflet rides again after many weeks, and of course, on the one hand, I was going to say that this Ent has been very patiently waiting, for Gryfflet to do his thing. But then again, if you can't rely upon an Ent to be patient, whom can you rely upon? So, anyway, so Bree, do you still need me to charade Treebeard? I could probably. I think I'm done with charades. Okay. Anyway, yeah, you're right. I do need to repair some stuff. My entirely. We'll get back to town here soon. We'll go back to Torsbury, and I think somebody in Torsbury can fix me up. But in the meantime, I think I have acorns. To collect, I guess, and that's, I think, it. Right, yeah, because these are the other monsters, right? And we've got, so it's just the Huorn acorns that I'm looking for, and I'm looking for them in the woods over here. So, all right, Blackthorn, we're going to do what we can here and see if we can get some assistance in our frustrating battles that we are looking forward to doing multiple more times. We're going to see if we can finish up here at Torsbury this week. All right. Okay, are the acorns... I don't even remember this quest. What does it say? They can be found throughout the eves. We're just supposed to gather them. So I don't have to kill anyone? They're just going to be lying about? Are they? So we'll just go about, shall we? Oh, no, that's not the thing. Or need I... Oh, look. There's one of those white spots in the ground, which I suspect is where I need to go in order to... Aha! Yes, they are indeed just lying about. Fantastic. Oh, except I forgot to stealth myself, and so now I am in combat. That's fine. At least it's a regular black Huorn, and not one of the good guys whose lives I'm meant to be protecting. Okay. All right. Okay, so, great. JJ, yes, was asking me about my... my Lovecraft status. I've been talking over the last couple months about how I've been going through and doing my first full read of H.P. Lovecraft's fiction. I'm about 60% done now. And I just got the other day to a delightful piece, totally unlike anything else I've ever read by Lovecraft. Oh, now this other dude is going to aggro onto me too. Or not. I guess he's relatively uninterested. Oh, until he's not. Okay. Fine. Anyway, so I just read this delightful piece, which is totally unlike anything else I've ever read by Lovecraft, which was his piece of satire, like... academic satire, semi-academic satire. Hang on, I'm just gonna... I don't really want to do this. Okay. Called Ibid. Right? I don't know if you know Ibid. But Ibid was hilarious. Oh my goodness. He's really good at satire. Like, oh my goodness. Lovecraft's normal, like, prose style really maps onto that kind of satire really, really well. So, anyway, yeah, that's, something I was really enjoying. But yeah, of course, as I've sort of complained about before, the audio collection that I'm reading is, in alphabetical order, which just seems to me like the maximally illogical way to read complete works of an author. But I'm rolling with it because it's what I've got, and it's presents its own kind of interest. So anyway, I'm in the eyes now, as you can see. I think In the Vault is the one I just read yesterday. But it's, as I said, although I'm only in the eyes, it's about 60% of the way through the content by time. So yes, JJ says that Ibid and Sweet Ermengarde, which I haven't gotten to yet, that's an S, almost convinced me that Lovecraft had a sense of humor. He totally did. Oh man, like I was just like, I was kind of lightly amused by Ibid until we got to the point where the prairie dogs were worshiping the skull of Ibid. And then I was like, okay, no, this is legitimately hilarious. And that last sentence is a doozy. Like, I was in the middle of picking my son Matthias up from karate when I was listening to that. And he came in and just in time to hear like the triumphal last sentence. And he was just cracking up, even though he knew no other context for it. So yeah, no, it's very much sense of humor there. I was, but that's exactly why I was so interested in that one, JJ, because it was, I was taken by, so I was kind of curious. I'm like, why is he writing a preternatural horror story called Ibid? Like, I didn't get it at all. And then, of course, I found because it's not. It's a satire, which is wonderful. So, yeah. No, I definitely think that he does have a sense of humor. But yeah, no, I've been, generally, I've been very much enjoying my first Lovecraft experience. Lots of really interesting stuff. I was surprised. I mean, so I read like the Call of Cthulhu, of course, because it starts with the letter C, and I was surprised at how short it was. Like it's that's like, of course, the number one Lovecraft story I had heard of as a non-Lovecraft reader. And I was kind of, so I got to it and I'm like, okay, here's like the momentous occasion, right? Today I'm going to read the Call of Cthulhu, and I know of it, but I've never really read it before. And then I'm like, oh, and it's over already. So that was interesting. Oop, time to turn around. But yeah, no, that was good. Yeah, I'm pretty convinced that oops. He's not going to aggro on me, that guy, is he? He's one of the good guys. Okay, no, he's sitting on me. No, he is. Dude. I have no quarrel with you. Which one is this? Yeah, that's the one. Hide in plain sight, that's what I want. Backing slowly away from that horn. Okay, yeah, I didn't think they would aggro on me if I, more or less left them alone. Okay. All right. Let's see. Can I get this acorn without upsetting anyone? Okay. 7 out of 8. Not doing bad. Let's This tree heard stories about this halfling. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. Oh, they protect the seeds? Really? Okay. I agree, JJ, that it kind of looks like I'm into a Signum colored ensemble there, right? With the red cloak and the yellow boots and gloves, right? It does kind of look more like I'm accessorizing than, having all my equipment break. I think it's quite charming. Okay, let me get to a couple questions here. I had things set up properly before I had to do my emergency turn off and back on again. Okay. All right. Let us talk about Marielle's Balrog question. Oops. Hi there, Huorn. Yeah, sorry. Why don't you... Nothing to see here, Mr. Huorn. Dude, I'm hiding. No? Didn't work? Well, I'll run from you if I have to. You'd think, like, by juking quickly. Seriously? I placed one? Nice. I can do that at speed while I'm being chased around by lots of Huorns? Maybe that's the move. Oh, they're done. Well, they gave up easily. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So, oh, look, I'm almost back to Torsbury, which is not where I want to be at all. All right. So I'm placing... Maybe I can do this in stealth mode. If all I have to do is just walk over the areas, that would be handy. Okay, so Marielle's Balrog question, which I was about to read, and then I was all of a sudden getting attacked by all the Huorns, was, she says, my reading of the Moria section is that the Balrog wasn't involved in the destruction of Balin's folk, only the orcs. If I'm right in that reading, why wouldn't it be? And furthermore, why would it then bestir itself for the company? This is an excellent question, and I'm going to begin by saying, as I so often do, this is like my normal question answering gambit, right? Where I always say like two things. First, I have no idea. Second, but I'll answer anyway. So I don't know. The question of like, what's up with the Balrog exactly? What's he doing? Like, what's he up to? What's his plan? That is something which is to me fairly mysterious. Like, okay, when he gets waked up, right? He gets waked up and roused by the dwarves. Really love the Lotro instance on that one, by the way. Anyway, when he gets waken up by the dwarves, boy, these white squares not so easy to stumble across in the underbrush. Then he comes out. So what does he do? I mean, Balrogs are presumably, and not presumably, they're certainly, sentient. It's not like he's just a wandering monster or something. I mean, he's presumably has, hopes and dreams and plans and such. Like probably plans to avoid the attention of the Valar and stuff. But anyway, he's, I don't know what his plans are. That's never been clear to me. Why would Sauron reach out? Was he working with Sauron? Did he know about Sauron? Did Sauron send an emissary to be like, hi, dear Balrog, can we work together and be a dominate the world with evil team? Are you willing to, hi, Balrog? He probably knows him by first name, right? He's like, hello, George the Balrog. He wouldn't be named George, though. That's ridiculous. He would be called something like Reginald or something like that, right? Dear Reginald, hi, long time, the good old days back in Utumno, am I right? Morgoth gone and everything, I'm kind of taking over the dominate the world thing. You understand, and I trust that you're willing to work with me on this, to achieve the goals of our old master and such. And can we, Reginald D. Balrog, exactly. Oh, there it is. I found it. Yeah, so I thought I was gonna have to climb up on the hill, which was gonna be super awkward. Yeah, so so can we join forces? And then Reginald D. Balrog would be like, dearest Sauron, it has been some time, but good to hear from you again. Glad you're still in business. I can think of no one better to take up the mantle of our Dark Lord and Master than you. I would be more than happy to oblige with any cooperation in my power. Or not, right? Or else he would be like, die, Sauron scum, like, die shall be the, in general, I really don't think that the bad guys in, Middle-earth really work well together, there's a lot of elements of, team building and cooperation, which are really premised upon virtues which are more or less rejected by the bad guys by dint of their becoming bad guys. So most of them don't work together. That's why you have this attitude which focuses on domination of the wills of others, right? That's why that's kind of Sauron's MO, because how do you get cooperation? The best kind of team building is enslavement of the will, right? They don't really teach that in corporate leadership seminars, but really, if you want compliance, if compliance is your goal, which ironically is a word that we're very fond of in the corporate, especially in the bureaucratic environment, the enslavement of the will really is the way to get it done. But anyway, so do I think the Balrog would cooperate with Sauron? Probably not very eagerly or very willingly. I'm guessing, right? Okay, right. I've passed into an entire other area, but I'm finally to my neck. There it is. Right? Oh, there it is. Okay. So anyway, as I was saying, I don't think they cooperate, which means I have to imagine, since I don't think he would work with Sauron, probably, maybe he would, but if he didn't, oh, excellent, very good, back to Blackthorn then. If he didn't work with Sauron, then he's got his own plans, and what are they exactly? Is he trying to build his own realm? Does he rule there? Because of course Azog, seemed like he considered himself anyway a free agent. Like, we don't hear Azog being all like, I serve the Dark Master of, Shadow and Flame. That's not Azog's thing. He is the master, right? He considers himself the Lord of Moria. So at the very least, the Balrog seems to have let the orcs get on with that, right? And at least believe that they're ruling themselves. They themselves are clearly afraid of the Balrog, obviously, who wouldn't be? But we see them holding back in terror. We see the Balrog coming, when we meet the Balrog at the bridge, it's kind of coming through the orcs. It's not leading or commanding the orcs exactly. I'm also reminded of Gimli's phrase, which I love. Did you meet the beater of the drums? He says to Gandalf. It's one of my favorite lines in that chapter. Did you meet the beater of the drums? The implication that that the Balrog is the beater of the drums. Gimli, of course, doesn't know what it is, but he is assuming there's a big boss, right? That there's somebody who ordered the drums beaten, and the drums are the drums in the deep are the orc drums, right? Like drums to summon and rally the orcs. This is Gimli is seeing a direct causal link, right, between the beating of the drums and the attack on them in the Chamber of Mizarbal, that this was rallying the orcs. And so he sees the beating of the drums as a command. And therefore, I think when he says, did you meet the beater of the drums, he is saying, like, did you meet the lord of the orcs, like the one who is commanding this rabble, right? Which would be the Balrog, by implication, right? Or at least Gimli assumes that that's the case. As I say, I don't know. Phil is wondering if there's any chance the orcs beat the drums to summon the Balrog. That's a disturbing idea. Why am I disturbed by that idea? Well, I mean, it's just simply disturbing to imagine somebody like beating a drum and whistling up a Balrog. I guess I don't really need to examine further why that's disturbing, because it just kind of is. But again, see, I can't imagine that the Balrog would just be like, I'm going to live my life, happily for millennia, living down here, hanging out in the dark and waiting to be summoned by the orcs to threaten folks with, like, just to be the thug muscle of the orcs. I can't imagine it. Right now, and of course, Phil, I know that they probably wouldn't think that, right? They would be worshiping, they would be, summoning him like a god. I mean, it's one could easily construct a sort of Lovecraftian story, right, in which the orcs have developed this cult of the Balrog, and they have these rites and rituals by which they summon the dark god up from the depths. Yeah, I mean, that's one can easily imagine that kind of thing emerging. Indeed, I would fully expect the orcs of Moria to worship the Balrog as a god. They'd be much more likely to worship him as a god than they would be to take him as a king, I think. Now, of course, one of the hardest things is the Balrog never speaks. And Tolkien did this on purpose because he thought it was scarier. And I think he's right. The Balrog is more intimidating in its silence than it would be, like, in any speech that it made. But it does mean that he, the Balrog, it's one of the reasons we have so little information about what the Balrog is thinking, right? And what he might be planning. And no, Phil, we don't ever hear the orcs from Moria whom we meet mentioning the Balrogs, though in their defense, we never really get to hear them talk much at all. They're the third wheel, right? In the Isengard crew, we've got the Isengard orcs, the Mordor orcs, and then the orcs from the mountains. And they don't get a spokesperson, right? We've got Ugluk and we've got Grishnak, and we don't really have like an equal They say a couple things. They like chirp up and complain occasionally, but we don't hear them say anything that would really reveal their. We get much more about the thoughts and perspectives of Grishnak and Ugluk than we get of them. So, not really good data there, but. Yeah, it is possible to imagine, Katran, as you're suggesting, that they kind of poke the bear and then try to stay out of its way. Yes. Udine says, I thought he was there protecting something. Well, no, not really. He wasn't positioned there. He was hiding. He found himself a deep, deep, dark hole in the ground to hide, because he's hiding from the gods, right? So he went deep down to the roots of the earth and was like, if I'm very, very quiet, the gods won't find me and cast me into outer darkness, because they had find and cast his boss into outer darkness. And so, the Balrogs are spooked and they run away very fast. You can tell on account of how Tolkien says they flew from Thangarodrim, which means they ran very fast away. They fled and hid themselves in deep, dark places of the earth. So when the dwarves' disturbance of the Balrog is not them coming up against, the eldritch guardian of a hidden secret. It's them uncovering the hole in which the Balrog had hidden itself. But since they did uncover it and they did wake it up, the Balrog then comes out and kills them. But notice it's really interesting. It takes them a long time. Like forever, like years before they actually abandon Moria. That suggests to me, didn't Melkor get chained up in Aman? No, yeah, he got booted. He did the first time. Then they chained him up and they hauled him back again, and then they cast him out into outer darkness. Interestingly, in his revision of the Silmarillion post Lord of the Rings, Tolkien decided that Melkor was going to get executed, like actually killed by the Valar. He was gonna get, I think, beheaded. Though he doesn't mention the form of execution, which I thought would be really interesting. But no, Melkor was cast out, permanent. Like they tried the binding thing and it didn't pan out the first time. So they were a little more thorough the next time. But anyway, yeah. So when you look at them, like look at Appendix B, right? Look at the Tale of Years, and look at how long it takes from when the Balrog is awakened until the dwarves finally abandon Moria. It's years. It's years. So one thing that tells me is that the Balrog did not like launch a campaign of conquest. Like as soon as it's released, it's not like, and I shall have Khazad-dûm for myself, right? And I mean, if the Balrog, I mean, it's big, Khazad-dûm, right? So even if he were being aggressive, it would take him some time. But, this is not like the Balrog rampaging around, actively attempting to exterminate the dwarves or enslave the dwarves or whatever he wanted to do. So yeah, I mean, I think that, it seems that he's not really interested in establishing a kingdom, which again seems backed up by the fact that Azog seems to have established for himself a perfectly, satisfactory by his standards anyway kingdom. Like Azog has declared himself the Lord of Moria, and he's not going to share with the dwarves, and the Balrog doesn't seem to care that he calls himself the Lord of Moria. So the Balrog doesn't seem to be into ruling, but nor does it seem really devoted to the hiding concept either. Because I hear your point. Who was that? Who just said this? I lost it. Somebody was talking about killing Gandalf because, right, Matt was just saying if Durin's Bane is hiding from the Valar, he would have good reason to show up and try to get rid of Gandalf, as he might pass word back to Valinor. Even if Gandalf wouldn't or couldn't, the Balrog likely wouldn't want to take that chance. Right, I mean, that would make sense, right? But again, maybe I'm just questioning the Balrog's methods, right? But I think if he were trying to hide, his best method would be to hide, right? Like if he hadn't come up and fought Gandalf on the bridge, they didn't know it was a Balrog. Even Gandalf didn't know it was a Balrog until it showed up at the bridge, right? Then Legolas recognizes it and Gandalf recognizes it. So if it had just stayed in the deep, right? So it's sitting down there and then like Pippin's stone hits it in the head or whatever. And it's like, what the heck? And then it comes up to investigate or whatever and is like, oh, I smell, one of those pesky Astari, which I've never heard of. So, I mean, there's like a Maiar. I can sense the presence of a Maiar of significant power. I think I'm going to go all the way back down, where the world is gnawed by nameless things, where he certainly won't find me or be able to tell where I am or what I am, because in fact, Gandalf could not tell either where he was was or what he was. Nobody knew what Durin's Bane was. Yeah, exactly, Phil. It takes a year. But it's a long time. Like the dwarves lived in Moria. That's the thing that always shocked me, is that yes, Durin the Sixth was slain in 1980. And then like they didn't leave until 1981. So like it's like a whole year. They like hung out with the Balrog, right? Like they like, like had an apartment share in Moria with the Balrog, and it was like fine or whatever. I'm not saying it was fine. They left, right? It wasn't fine. Irreconcilable differences and all that. But anyway, like they didn't like, we're not talking about like, there's a Balrog, everybody run for your lives, right? That's not what happened. That's not how they left. It took them a year, and it wasn't until it killed somebody else that they were like, okay, you know what? This is just not going to pan out, right? We need to go. So yeah, I think that, it's striking. Now, again, we can certainly imagine the dwarves fighting like a desperate battle. You're right, Phil, that they're certainly very stubborn. They're not just going to flee Khazad-dûm for no reason, right? I mean, or like, unless they're really 100% convinced that this is not going to work out. I mean, the loss of Moria is as disastrous to the Longbeards as the loss of Numenor was, right? To the Numenorians. So, I mean, it's a huge deal. I mean, the way that Elendil still calls himself an exile, and, the survivors of Numenor think of themselves as the exiles of Numenor, and lament the loss of Numenor that was for generations thereafter. The Longbeards, that's at least how the Longbeards see the loss of Khazad-dûm. So they're not going to just like up and move out on day one. Sure, they would fight, but even if it's a battle, even if it's a battle, it takes them a long time. Before they finally, again, longer than I would have expected. Again, no matter how much I like my house, I find a Balrog in the basement, I'm leaving. Like, it's not going to take me a year to move out. You know what I mean? And so again, it just suggests to me that the Balrog was not being real aggressive necessarily. Right, that it was not, again, embarking on a campaign of conquest. I really don't think so. Like Weabot says, I kind of pictured the Balrog like a spider in a corner of the bathroom that you can't quite get at. So for a bit, there's a queasy piece until you figure out how to get it. Yeah, something like that. So that, Durin the Sixth finds that there's, something nasty downstairs, and, they like try to ignore it for a while, but like eventually they can't. Right. No, Omega Fem, I don't think there is any evidence. So no one knew what Durin's Bane was until Legolas and Gandalf saw it for themselves. Yes, Gandalf clearly does not know. And if anybody knew, Gandalf would know. Not only because Gandalf is one of the wise and one of the White Council, but he's actually been through Moria before, right? So he's actually explored this. Like he came inquiring. Right. I don't know if he was here just to pass through, or if he was here on a fact-finding mission, or exactly, was he interested in Durin's Bane? But I bet you he was, because remember, like, there are a bunch of like suspicious, unknown, like evil things of unknown identity in the world, right? One is Durin's Bane, one is the Necromancer, and Gandalf ends up poking his nose around in both places, right? He goes to the dungeons of the Necromancer, and he goes through Moria. We know explicitly in the case of the Necromancer, and I suspect when it comes to Moria, that Gandalf did it on purpose in order to investigate and see, like, okay, can we ID this thing? Right? Can we figure out exactly who or what this is? Let's do like a rule out Sauron reviving, right? Because we want to make sure that that's not happening, right? And of course, it turns out that it was what the Necromancer was indeed, Sauron reviving, and not what Durin's Bane was, but it does. So I think that they actually wanted to know. It's clear. Gandalf is obviously surprised. He's obviously surprised. His response when the Balrog comes out and Legolas says, a Balrog, Gandalf says, like, it explains a lot of things to him, right? You know, it makes sense to him, but he obviously did not know. So, and again, if Gandalf didn't know, then I have to assume Galadriel doesn't know, Elrond doesn't know, Saruman doesn't know. Well, Saruman might know and not be telling folks. That's very possible. But yeah. Sid says, why was he reluctant to take the Moria route before if he didn't suspect something? Well, first of all, it wasn't Gandalf. It was Aragorn who was reluctant to take. It was Gandalf's idea all along to go through Moria. But he did suspect something. Everybody knew that something was there. Everybody knew that... everybody knew about Durin's Bane, right? That there was something in Moria that was killing dwarf kings and that eventually drove everybody out of Moria, or, you know, was at least the cause of their departure. Everybody knew that, but they didn't know what it was. It was just some, you know, monstrous evil thing of the ancient world is what everybody kind of knew and assumed. Oh, right, Phil. Movie Gandalf was reluctant. I forgot about that. Yeah. I forgot about that element. Yes, movie Gandalf is reluctant. Book Gandalf is not reluctant. Not that he's not cautious. Not that he's not aware of the fact that there are, you know, difficulties potentially there. But yeah. Yeah, no, sorry, I'd forgotten that movie Gandalf was reluctant. Yeah, Phil, I agree that pretty much any elf could identify one of their ancestral foes. I think the fact that Legolas recognizes him proves it, right? I mean, who's Legolas, right? I mean, Legolas is cool and everything, but I mean, he's you know, he's never seen a Balrog in his life. I can tell you that, right? I mean, he's a young stripling dude. Legolas is. He's only been around for what, like a few millennia? So he's never seen a Balrog for sure. But he can still identify it, right? So basically, if Legolas can identify a Balrog on sight, I'm pretty sure pretty much any elf can identify a Balrog on sight. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, maybe not Celeborn. Galdor would be too busy running. But yeah, no, Celeborn could totally do it. Celeborn is very wise. JJ, you're forgetting how wise Celeborn is. Come on, like he's a giver of great gifts. So like, don't, you know, you must never forget that. But anyway, hang on. Poor Blackthorn is being like super patient again. I should. Oh, hang on. I've got dialogue issues. Okay. You have returned. Many thanks to you, little hobbit. Saruman will soon learn his lesson. Oh, good. Little hobbit, I was already angered by the encroachment of the Borarum from my northern home. I saved a man from his walled city when the orcs destroyed it. Bjorknoth, I believe his name was. Really? You saved Bjorknoth? That's fantastic. Now I can see what evil Saruman has truly come to. Tarum, you may return to the men of the lands beyond and tell them that Blackthorn of Fangorn shall fight. Look for my emissary at their village in the ruins. I will come if you send him. Oh, I am so glad to hear that. I really am. And I think I will take the Okay, I'm not even going to ask the question of how this Ent has earrings to give away. I have firmly decided that I don't want to know. What's wrong with my cursor? Oh, man. Oh, sorry, because it's not... I'm only accepting the quest tonight. Right, I hate it when I do that. Okay. Great. Darkness no more. Fantastic. I am so excited now to return to the camp and figure this out. So, let us mount up. Okay, and now let me... Wait, why can't I put my hat on? What's wrong with my invisibility hat? I'm not in combat or something. Alright, well, it's going to get awkward pretty soon. You know, all these horns are going to attack me without my invisibility hat. I mean, you know, I think Carrion is up to running away from them all. Oh, man. Ran into a boulder. That was awkward. Okay. Glad I just blew past that. Oh, sure. Now it allows me to do my hat of invisibility. Yeah, I can totally stealth well. Well, it's not stealthing. It's disguise. But yeah, I rely on that. Hey, let's fix my equipment. Hey there, dude. Yeah.
We'll aid you as best we may.
Repair all the stuff. Thank you. That's nice. Appreciate that. Okay. There's a crow I have to talk to. It's in the instance. Okay. Right. So I was going to look around for it here, but it's in the instance. Okay. Fine. Herhazen.
Our mission is dire.
Walking trees and ents. Are you mad? No one would believe such a ridiculous tale. All right. This is the crazy guy who's telling me I'm mad. Perhaps I was wrong about the shadows in the trees. Oh, well. All right. Okay. So no, you're going to give me the earrings. Fine. That makes more sense. Fine. Okay. All right. Are we ready? Are we ready for this? Okay, so I don't think I solved any problems about the Balrog and got a little bit distracted from the original question. But I think I've established effectively that I have no idea what's going on with the Balrog and like why he does what he does or even what his plan is. The Balrog is just mysterious. I don't even know what story I would make up that would fit the facts that were given in the text. I think the Balrog just, you know, I think he just wants to be left alone. I really do. Now, would he come after the rings? Hang on a second. So that's an element of the question I meant to come back to. Would the Balrog come after the rings? I don't know. I mean, could the Balrog use a ring of power? Sauron's ring? Yeah, I mean, is the Balrog man or beast? Well, neither. You know, more than both. I mean, he's like a god. You know, he's like this angelic dark angel. He's a demon. Is exactly what he is, right? Because he's like a fallen angel. Demon is in fact the word that Tolkien uses on several occasions to describe the Balrogs. So that was his sort of closest metaphor for them. So yeah, he's of the same order as Sauron. Could he take the will of Sauron that is, you know, sort of invested in the ring and use that for himself? Would it strengthen him very significantly? I don't know. I really don't know if that's something that he could do or would be interested in doing. Again, in part, it depends on what his goal is. If his goal is maintain a low profile, which seems to be at least part of his goal, judging by the fact that he's not done more, right? So, you know, in my imagined correspondence between Sauron, you know, the new and improved Dark Lord of Middle-earth, and Reginald D. Balrog, I was, you know, imagining the two of them as like rivals for power, and yet the Balrog seems to be isolationist, you know, more or less in the extreme. He doesn't seem to have any plans for world conquest. Sauron is really putting his shingle out. You know what I mean? Like, he's really setting himself up because he's convinced himself that the Valar are going to take no more notice of Middle-earth. Even though he should be well aware of the fact that that's exactly the conclusion that Melkor had, right before the Valar returned and stomped him into the ground. So, nevertheless, Sauron, however, is going down the same disastrous path as his master before him, so he's making the same mistake. The Balrog does not seem to be putting his shingle out. I mean, in fact, we know for certain that he has kept his identity a secret for 1,000 years. In 1,000 years, not even the elven wise have discovered what, in fact, Durin's Bane is, right? So keeping a low profile would certainly seem to be his priority. So the question then becomes, so why does he come out? Why does he attack the company? When they just wanted to pass through, and he could have, I mean, like, even if he sicked the orcs on them or whatever, he didn't have to do what he did. He didn't have to come out himself to fight them. But he did come, not just to the bridge, but remember that Gandalf got into a little magical battle of wills with him at the door of the chamber before that. So he was there. He was there. He came to the chamber of Mizarbol, the Balrog did. So he was invested for some reason. He was involved. It is possible, likely about, that he is responding to the call, to the evil of the ring in some way. That is certainly one theory. I mean, I think I can only see three logical conclusions here. One is that the Balrog does routinely, like, if any invaders in Moria come to the attention of the Balrog, he comes up and takes them out to protect his, peace and quiet or whatever. That's one of the reasons why nobody passes through Moria, because people don't survive. The second logical excuse is that he doesn't normally come up to stomp on just anybody, but that he came up to stomp on them because of the presence, either option B of Gandalf or option C of the ring. Those three seem to be, to me, it's the only logical explanation I can think of for why the Balrog would come out. But I find myself not liking the reading that he's after the ring. But no, I think that's likeliest. I think it's likelier that seems likelier to me than the Gandalf thing. Because again, if anything, he should be motivated to hide from Gandalf rather than to expose himself to Gandalf. But here's the reason that I paused just now. We do get a bit of a setup for this, don't we? By the Watcher in the Water. The Watcher in the Water goes for Frodo first, and the narrator draws our attention to this, right? By saying that nobody wanted to draw attention to the fact that the Watcher in the Water went for Frodo out of all of them, right? Why does it go for Frodo first? Because it can sense the ring. I mean, clearly, because it can sense the ring, right? So the Watcher in the Water is going for Frodo because he's holding the ring. So we already have that idea implanted there at the beginning of our Moria trek, that dark and powerful creatures from the ancient world are attracted to the ring, right? Can sense the ring and are attracted to the ring. And so therefore, I think that does set us up to believe that the Balrog, who is more in every way except perhaps number of tentacles, than the Watcher of the Water, leads him in every other category, is what I mean. Would certainly do the same thing. So yeah, I mean, it is possible, Catriona, that again, that would be option A, right? That he's just grumpy at having his peace disturbed so much with orcs and Balin's group and decides to put an end to it. Exactly. I mean, that is very much the possibility. Though, again, keep in mind, not only did it take the original dwarves a year to decide to move out of Khazad-dûm, Balin was there for several years successfully. And presumably did more than just accidentally drop a stone down a well. Well, not accidentally. Purposefully drop a stone down a well to alert the orcs and the Balrog to his presence. And yet the Balrog put up with it for years. So, I think that there is evidence that would certainly seem to be evidence that the Balrog is not super vigilant, right? It does not stomp on any intruder that it finds word of as soon as it finds word of them, right? As soon as there's any evidence. Or else Balin's folk would have been stomped a good deal earlier than they were. So I think the ring is the likeliest explanation, which leaves me then to wrestle with the question, what does the Balrog mean to do with the ring? Use it? Claim it? Use it? Make himself, and in place of a lord, you shall have what? A fiend, right? I don't know. Barter with it? Yeah, that'd be interesting. What does he want, though? Right? Leave me more alone than you're already leaving me. Stop writing me, right? Just stop. If I can, stop the correspondence. And I agree, Autoflagellator, he totally missed the Second Age, right? So he's way out of the loop when it comes to Rings of Power. But let me ask you, right, please take me off your mailing list. Enclosed is one ring, yes. But let me approach this question with another question. What did the Watcher in the Water want with the ring? I remember talking about this with some of my students many years ago. I do not believe that the giant squid is going to be like, and in place of a Dark Lord, you shall have a squid, right? Like, that's not what is happening there. I really don't think so. And if I had to guess what the Watcher in the Water wants to do with the ring, I would have to go with eat it. Eat it. And if that seems odd to you, remember Ungoliant. Exactly, Phil. That's exactly it. I don't know if the squid has Ungoliant-like powers, if it can absorb, the power and the energy of the things that it consumes, and therefore and that's why it finds Frodo an especially toothsome mouthful, right? And that's why he goes for him. But that kind of like absorption of the power of the ring makes a lot more sense to me, even frankly for the Balrog, than it would to have the Balrog be like, and now finally my long suppressed plans for world domination may come to fruition with the use of this ring. Like, it just doesn't seem right to me. It really doesn't seem right to me. So now I agree, JJ, that the sensing of the ring's proximity by evil creatures does seem to be rather indistinct and indeterminate. The example that JJ gives of the Witch King sensing another power in his valley. Even he who should, you'd think, have more close affinity to Sauron's ring than anybody, right? more like personal, empirical experience of, the like flavor of Sauron's ring, doesn't like recognize it. He's not like, hey, exactly, JJ, just say like, dude, my master's ring is right here somewhere nearby. Yeah. No, I don't think the Watcher has been placed there by Sauron himself. I don't think that Sauron he's not micromanaging things in the mountains. No, Sauron, the Watcher hasn't been placed there. The Watcher just is like an opportunist, and is like, hey, he's expanding his own aquatic, but he's never seen the sun. He's getting out a little bit, stretching his tentacles. I'm sure it's a much nicer pond than, wherever he came from. So, no, he just seems to be, moving up to a better neighborhood, better property values. I'm joking, but I'm not joking. Like I don't think he's working for Sauron. I don't think there's any evidence of that. Okay, but let's do it. I'm going to run out of time just in case I have to do this instance 2 or 3 times again. But I don't think so now that I'm going to have, hopefully, some Entish assistance. This should go much better. I am so ready to leave. I can't believe I forgot about the Ent quest before I did this before. All right.
Thane Tordag of Torsbury, determined to reclaim his town from the Dunlending invaders,
That's right.
has joined with Dudsig of Arcelay to march upon his ruined village.
Yes, he has. Let's see, Sid. Wasn't that during the Elf-Sauron Wars when the dwarves let the remaining elves of Eregion pass through Durin's Gate and then sealed it? That's when the Watcher first appeared. But probably not like right at that moment, like while the dwarves were still there. I mean, I gotta think the dwarves would not be, even if they had sealed the gate, that they would be like, hey, my lord, there's a giant squid living outside the West Gate. It's really ugly and kind of cranky. I think the dwarves would have been like, oh, great, we gotta call in the giant squid exterminators again. So I don't think that's they would have. It's got to be a way to remember. Gandalf knows the Saran and the Gate Stream, and it's been since the last time he was in Moria that this has happened. Right? Remember, he's looking for the river, and he's like, dude, what happened to the river? Right. So it's been since, we don't know exactly the date when Gandalf passed through Moria. But from the sound of it, it was after the dwarves left, right? It was sometime in the last 1,000 years for sure. So exactly, Phil says, calamari for dinner again? Yeah, they'd be eating calamari for quite a while. But, great, Phil. Now I really want calamari. But anyhow, So it's clearly, it was not there the last time Gandalf passed through there, when Gandalf went through. And Aragorn seems surprised also. You'd think Aragorn would have tipped the wink that there was a giant squid in the pool. Now, he might not have known, but again, Aragorn also says that he went through Moria at one point. And again, presumably it wasn't there for him either. So the squid is a recent resident of the neighborhood. All right, sorry, Tordag. I've been keeping you waiting like forever, but let's do it. I think this is all going to go well for you, Tordag. Okay, I guess, sorry, I meant to eat something first. Right, yes, for Torsbury. Hang on, I'm having a snack. Okay. Yay, let's do it. Keep an eye on Frithmund. I got to keep an eye on Oh yeah, Frithmund is going to come up here and pretend to fight guys. All right. Here we are. I'm helping. Hooray. Oh, there's Frithmund continuing to pretend to fight over there. Man, you guys are beating me up. You shouldn't do that. Beat up those other guys. Yeah. Can you fight the red shirts over there, please? That'd be handy. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. Oh, there's still more of them? I thought they were all done. Oh, there's Frithmund, still pretending to fight. You're not fooling anyone, you know, Frithmund. Okay, we're healing. Oh, I'm still healing. There we go. Nice. Dum-de-dum. Okay. There's a flashing banner. Oh, there is a flashing banner. What's up with this? Should I burn it? Yeah. Thank you. That guy was interrupting me. He was... Oh, that guy's running away. Oh, I burned the banners, huh? Are there more banners over here? Or is it a stages of my battle kind of thing? Oh, everybody's running away. Come back! Frithmund is up here fighting nobody all by himself. Oh, look, there's a tent. I can burn the tent too, I bet. There we go. Look at me, just like participating in wanton acts of sabotage. I just burnt 1 out of 4 tents. 1 out of every 4 tents has been burned by Gryfflet. Okay, here's another one. Hey, look, it's the crow. Hey, Blackthorn's messenger. There you go. Yeah, summon the ent. Very good. Meanwhile, can I burn that tent over there? No. It's not a flammable tent. But this is a flammable banner. You guys are doing a great job with the enemies. You know, until you're not later on. But I know for a fact you can handle this bit. Where are the other flammable tents and such? Did I miss a tent downstairs? Is there a tent down here I meant to burn, or was it just the one? Did I get it? Okay, no, I got it. Yeah, all right, I got it. Great. Okay, so I'm 2 for 4 on both sides. On the tent and the banner side, I found the crow, which is great. I'm looking forward to... Oh, Frithmund. Frithmund alert. Oh, there you go. That's right. Stop pretending to fight, Frithmund. Oh, there goes Tordag up the hill. Okay. And now we're looking for... Oh, flammable tent and banner right next to each other. Oh, that's convenient. Okay. Boom and boom. Great. Woohoo! Yikes. Wow, look at that. I got sent up to midair. That's exciting. Oh, boy, you can't get me from here. Wish you wouldn't think you'd be able to. What am I on? The tip of the horn of the ox? I have reached the heart of Torsbury. More importantly, I've reached a higher state of enlightenment, apparently. Look at that. Oh. Okay, fine. All right. Uh-oh. Frithmund is taking up his position. What's his name? Bartub. Yeah. Oh, Frithmund! Gah. Okay, hang on. I gotta go after Frithmund. Hey, here comes the end. All right. Yeah. Bet you didn't see that coming, did ya? Take that, Frithmund. Oops. Darn it. Oh, dear. Maybe now, though, I can get back. Can I get back? Go like the wind, carry on. Now that the Ent is there. All right, next time I'm just going to leave it to Blackthorn entirely. At least I can wear my hat. Okay. Boy, this instance is going to be the death of me. I mean, it is being the death of me many, many times, but let's see. Let's see. Let's see if I can get back in time. I got to go back and talk to him again, right? All right, next time I'm leaving the fighting to the professionals and the Ents. Who was it who was killing me? Somebody was doing a significant amount of damage to me that I didn't even notice. Let's see. Let's see if I can get back in. See if Blackthorn is still, you know, kicking butt and taking names in there. Probably not. I didn't have to ride in from such a very long distance. Oh, tense out of nowhere. Hey! Is it still happening? It is. Oops. No, not escape. Oops. That's not so good. I just killed Torferth. Boy, we're losing? What happened? Oh, did the Ent leave as soon as I left? He probably did, didn't he? Oh, I have to talk to the crow again? Yeah, well, I already lost it, though, because Torferth died. Wow, okay, so that was, like, closer and everything. All right, but we're just not doing that again. All right. Yeah, I think we got to re-recruit the Ent there, which is awkward. Look, there's nothing about this that isn't awkward. Okay, so we're going to do all the consumables, you know. It's all good. Hey, I'll even do, like, what's this thing? Yeah, I'll even do, like, a hope token thing. Why not? And, pretty much anything I got. All right. Okay, Tordag. We're going to do it this time.
Will you aid the horse lords?
We're going to do it. Go for it, man. Okay, so pretty mean for them to say Tordag must not be defeated and then, you know, railroad him into being beaten to death by a club attack from behind. You guys are doing great. I have complete faith in you on the bottom 3 levels. I'm just going to go up and burn stuff. It's my part of the job. Okay. Hey, stop throwing axes at people. That just annoys everyone. Okay, Torferth. Time to, oh. Guy came rushing over here with everybody else. I thought he was one of the good guys. Okay. Okay, and there's Torferth, or Frithmund, not fooling anyone. Okay. There we go. You guys are doing great. See, look at that. Like this, the warrior and Frithmund are really just pretending to fight each other. He's not being injured at all. Whoa, Tordag was getting down there, actually. Tordag, let yourself heal a little bit, you know what I mean? Show a little prudence. Do I have to actually protect him? Is he that much of an idiot? Come on, Crow. Thank you. Where's Tordag? That's him. Yeah, I gotta protect you from yourself, apparently. There we go. Okay. All right, nobody else is attacking Tordag, so I'll go up here and burn things. All right. Hey, stop attacking Tordag. Okay. Now I think Tordag is... Oh, no, he's not going to get killed yet. I mean, he's not supposed to get killed yet. Okay, where is he? Oh, he's right there. Getting pounded again. Okay. All right, I'm keeping an eye on my morale and stuff. Okay, Heart of Torsbury. Here we are again. All right, Frithmund, it's almost time for your big moment. I'm going to stealth myself from the beginning. Okay, now we're going to stand over here and watch this drama play out. And where's my little friend? By which I mean my big friend. Oh, curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal. There he comes. I gotta make sure we get Frithmund. Then I'm gonna get out of dodge. My goal is to stay alive. It's a humble goal. Find Mr. Dunlending Warrior. Okay. Now that we've got the... They just killed the Ent. Okay. All right. So, like, since when is the Ent... Holy cow. Really? Like, the Ent is that big of a wuss? I'm very surprised. I am very surprised by that sort of... I don't even know what to say about that. Okay, Bartub. I think we've got your number this time. And Torferth is still alive. And we're good. But seriously, the Ent just dies. What did it say about... It just said something about Blackthorn. Completed Blackthorn's revenge? Really? That was the completion of it. Okay, hang on. Yeah, now I can burn the last of the things. I don't even know why I'm burning things. Like, I've been given no remit to burn things. I'm just burning things recreationally because they're there to be burned. And what does that say about me? You know, like I just, like, you see something sparkly and you set it on fire. Like, is that the life training I'm receiving here? Apparently it is. Tordag is in perfect health, lying there. And there's Dudsig, who I guess wasn't a bad guy. Still have my suspicions. We cannot win the day. We must retreat. What are you talking about? We've totally won the day. Okay. What did burning things accomplish? Never mind. I don't need to know. All I know, Torsbury failed and Tordag perished. Well, okay. Fine. Let's go before it's too late. Yeah, he is getting better. Okay. Well, I finished the instance. That's what's important. Not my deep, deep confusion about that whole situation. How do I fare? Oh, fine. I knew that we moved too quickly against Torsbury. As well, we should have foreseen the treachery that befell my father. There is no honor among the half-bloods. Hang on, man. I beg your pardon, for it is not your doing, and I should not rail against you. My thanks for your services. Okay. Good. Well, here we are, spreading hatred and intolerance among the Rohirrim. I feel like my work has been well done. You find me in a terrible state. I wish to grieve my loss, yet now I am now Thane and cannot afford that privilege. I suspect that there is more behind my father's murder than a single traitorous coward. From what I have learned, Frithmund was not a clever man. I mean, yeah, did you see him fake fighting? It is doubtful that he crafted the trap himself. I confess I have become suspicious of everyone around me, but you are new to Torsbury, and the one who masterminded this plan had to already know somewhat of my father's ways. Will you speak with my captains and allies? You may learn something from them that they might not be willing to share with me. I would also have you obtain their permission to search their belongings. It is the nature of evil to unwittingly leave signs of its actions. Oh, this is going to make me popular. The tree knew the risk? Yeah. Well, he'd probably heard from the other trees, you know, about the risk of working with Gryfflet. Okay, Sidnath.
What brings you to these lands?
The people of Torsbury loved their Thane. I can think of none among us who would even consider betraying him. It was one of those Woodhurst mongrels that killed him. You should be questioning them instead. We are Thane Torferth's people and will submit to his will, but it is an insult. We have fought and bled with him. Do what you must and leave me be. Yeah, this is not only going to make me popular, but him very popular indeed. Boy. Hey there, who are you again? Tidrick, right.
Our mission is dire.
I have ever been a faithful servant to Thane Tordag, and it is an insult to be treated with the same suspicion as the half-blood rabble. However, I cannot fault Torferth for his blind suspicion. He has just lost his father and become Thane of Torsbury in one evil stroke. My men and I will submit to whatever searches and inquiries Thane Torferth demands of us, and we will be found innocent one and all. Alas, I warned Thane Tordag not to admit the folk from Woodhurst. The half-bloods cannot be trusted. You should look more closely into their number, or even that captain from Oserley. Yeah, well, that's where I'm looking, Tidrick. Yeah. Dudsig, I have my suspicions. Thane Tordag sheltered my folk when the Dunlendings came to Woodhurst, despite the counsel of Tidrick and his own reservations regarding any who are not pure of blood, and yet it was one of my folk who betrayed him. I can understand the young Thane's suspicions, and we will willingly consent to whatever questions or searches he deems necessary to allay his suspicions. Alas, I cannot say more about Frithmund. I confess he was little more than a casual acquaintance in Woodhurst, and I did not know him well. Yeah, so, can we talk about the traitor from Oserley as well? And there does seem to be a common denominator here. I'm just saying, speaking of which, hi, Dudsig. How's it going?
Our mission is dire.
Bah, does the boy's hatred of all who do not bear the pure blood of Rohan run so deep that he would cast aspersions upon us all? It is an insult not only to me, but to my Thane who sent me. We came to aid Torsbury, and now he seeks hostilities? Nevertheless, Torferth is now Thane of Torsbury, and these are his forsaken lands. I will submit, but you may inform him that I will be bringing my grievances to Thane Ordlock and Reeve Fríthild. I have brought no possessions of my own, save what you see upon my person, but you have my leave with objection to search my tent and those of my men. Okay. Now I have to find evidence of another traitor, so it's tent searching. Oh, there we are. A mysterious letter. Is it in my inventory? No. Okay, now we're just completing deeds and such. All right, so I don't get to read the letter. I really wanted to read the mysterious letter. Well, maybe I will later. Okay, what's oh, a Falcon Clan badge, huh? That's a bad look. Oh, we got evidence of more correspondence. Traitors are so careless. Okay, boy, I'm glad I'm here to sleuth out these things, which, nobody else could notice. Oh, that's another badge. What is it? One of those, red eye things? Okay, curious necklace. Let's see, well, what else we have over here? Okay. Here we have what? Oh, what is this, a sword? A knife. Okay, Torferth, I found lots of incriminating evidence in everybody's stuff.
What business have you with the road?
The knife could easily belong to any of the folk from Woodhurst, for many of them bear the blood of both Rohan and Dunland. The note can be read in many ways. I can't even read it in one way. Some suspicious, some not. The Falcon Clan badge is incriminating, but could just as likely be a trophy in battle. Right? Yeah, very, very true. Right. Otto Flazoider wants to know if I really need permission to find a note lying on the ground outside of tents. A very good question. The necklace could be just that, though its design is not familiar to me. The letter piques my suspicion the most, for it is signed with an S, which could stand for Saruman, and reads strangely. But it is also in a hand not well trained in letters. I will have to think upon these things. Where? Hang on, before I... Can I read the note? No? I want to... They're not in my inventory, are they? No. It's a good thing too, because there's not much in my inventory. Where can I open these? I can't, huh? Nowhere's it going to give me the text? Man. Fine. Reeve Fríthild was wise in choosing you to bring her summons. Alas, however, my people cannot come yet to Stoke. We are worn from our battle and from the grief of loss, but as well I must learn who the true mind behind my father's death is. You should return to Stoke at once. The Reeve will need your doughty arm in the time ahead. Let her know that we will come as soon as we may. I must thank you again. So that's it. We're just not resolving this plot. I hope we get to resolve this plot. I got sent off in a similarly unsatisfactory way from Osserley. I must thank you again for bringing me Luffa's favor. Oh yeah, great. That's wonderful. Because now, like, the Thane of Torsbury is in a, like, clandestine love affair with the wife of the Thane of Osserley, and that's going to end well. My heart remains broken, for I know we shall never meet again under favorable circumstances, but the blow is softened somewhat to know that her heart remains mine. Gryfflet disapproves of this quest. Okay. Back to Stoke. Okay. All right. Hat of invisibility. All right, so it's just about time, and having finally finished that incredibly pesky instance, I am ready. You know, I've accomplished, like, what more could I hope to accomplish? I will speak to Fríthild here and get things set up for the next portion of our adventure here. Exactly, JJ. I do not call this quest good. That's exactly right. All right, there we go. Let's see if we can get the door at full gallop. Sort of. Okay. All right. And here we go. Hey, where's my favorite character? Where's the girl? Who's this? Ordlock. Ordlock, you're here. Where's your wife? Never mind. Don't want to know. Okay. You say that Tordag is dead, slain by treason, and the Torringas shall come late to our defense. That is ill news indeed, but at least we have the consolation that Ordlock has brought nearly his full garrison. I think that's good.
Will you help my people?
The loss of Tordag grieves me, for he was a good friend and a stout warrior. A good friend, you can tell because you broke his nose once. However, I must look to the defense of my riding. There will be time for sorrow later. Warg riders roam to and fro. No. Oh, good. Extinguishing fires with a bucket. No, that's great. I was hoping you were not going to send me hunting more warg riders. Will I ride out and extinguish as many of the fires that I can? Yeah, sure. I would have something left of the acres to pass down to my son. Be alert for an ambush. The goblins are vicious creatures who would just as soon put you to the torch. Okay. Sure. Firefighting. I like it. I like it. Right, maybe it's the spy master of Mead, the Mead spy master's nap time. Yeah. Oh boy, things are going from bad to worse here in Broadacres. But look at this. What is it? It's sunset here. yes, as lovely as the sky is just lit from one horizon to another. Let's see if we can go and actually look west. Oh, man. And so another day ends in wrath. Yeah. Okay. With Gryfflet framed against this beautiful sunset, I will say goodbye. I'm a couple minutes early, but there's no point in starting the next quest chain. But thanks for that fun Balrog discussions. I know kind of not resolved Balrog discussions because, as I say, I have no idea what the answers are. But it was interesting talking through the parameters of those with you guys a little bit. That was a lot of fun. I look forward to joining you again next week. I should be able to be here for several weeks in a row now. It will be until Mythmoot, I think. I should be around every Friday. So I look forward to hanging out with you guys again next week and complete, maybe we can complete Broadacres. The Broadacre quests seemed, partially because I had to do that instance like 14 times. The Broadacres quest seemed to be taking forever, but that's okay. We'll get through it. Anyway, thanks everybody so much. And I will see you guys next week. Bye now. Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.